Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 74 of Orchid Bay, Lebanon City Skylines Let's Play. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And thank you for all support last time on the car factory. You guys really enjoyed it, and we had a poll on the channel, and Yoke's wagon won by an absolute mile. really dominated the poll, so thank you for all the input. We also had another great idea as well to actually change out this industry for a small police station and change the car to the police supercar, which, after doing so, gives us a supercar driving around the test track, which is wonderful, isn't it? So really great ideas, thank you for all the input on it. And today's episode, we're actually going to do a build that came from last episode's comments. The wonderful idea from FA Synergy that the Lemonade factory can be included with a Green Cities development, and the idea being that the factory has funded a sustainable living and residential development due to its environmental stance, and to also include the biodome and the vertical farm, which is a really cool build idea, and we can definitely have this over here, I think. So this is lying, I guess, east of Denise over here. And we've got some fertile land, so I think we're actually going to have local crops production on site for the factory, which is going to be quite cool. I think that really feeds into the whole kind of sustainability vibe of the build, doesn't it? So during one of our network prep episodes, when we were building the town of Denise and all these roads out here, we left this little road empty, and I think this is where we're going to bring it down. So let's have this come through here, and we'll first of all map out this local road connection, because I think we're going to have the town based entirely off of this road. So we'll feed it straight the way through, and then I want to grab a little freeform tool, and we'll come down by the river here. We'll also add in another connection at the bottom of this road. It really makes sense, I think, doesn't it? There we go, and then we can come down here. Hit the road guideline of this little bridge that comes out of Denise. Cool. Still got some more build space out here too, haven't we? We should have the nodes to do it as well. There's more natural resources here as well. Ore and fertile land. Is it possible to combine ore mining with fertile land with farming? We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Cool. So the whole premise of this build is that, you know, the factory has established a community as a means of sustainable living, so it sounds like a perfect opportunity to use Green Cities residential, doesn't it? So let's have this in here. We're going to change this up to specialization, isn't it? There we go. Do it the right way. Oh, there we go. Wonderful. If you are missing Green Cities, don't forget to check out Instant Gaming below. Definitely one of the best DLCs for Cities Skylines 1 Green Cities. I absolutely love it. Wonderful. So this is the established community. We're also going to call this as well FA Synergies, after FA Synergy, the guy that suggested it. But thank you for the idea, FA. I really appreciate it, bud. So this is our big road going through town, right? And this is kind of like a real purpose-built community built around the factory. So let's have a little look at where we're going to start placing our stuff. Let's bring the road up here, and initially I'd like to have some car parking out the front of the factory. Quite a bit of it as well, so we'll leave 8 tiles free. Have this come over here, and we'll use our vanilla parking to kind of introduce our factory into the town. We'll do... that seems pretty perfect, so we can box that off. So let's have a look at the factory itself. It is in here. So it wants crops and glass to produce. And let's just get a bit of sense of scale for this thing, shall we? So it's definitely one of the nicer factories, I think. The green roof on it really helps. It's got some really nice prop work out the back, doesn't it? It's also got quite a bit of kind of extendable concrete mesh, I guess is the way to describe it. And it also clips with the airport aprons as well, so we can significantly expand this space, I think, which will lead us down at some cool kind of design philosophies at least. So let's have this here. We'll focus on getting the factory set up first. So again, as part of its sustainability program, I would love to have it producing crops locally, which means we're going to need a farmland, and probably just, I guess, fruit fields would be the best thing for a lemonade factory, wouldn't it, as opposed to crops. Do we have a farm area nearby that we could steal? Now I don't really want to have to include the farming main building here, so I think we are actually going to steal a little bit of the Baked Plateau's farming area. So let's feed this all the way over to FA Synergies, paint out a good chunk where we're going to need it, and then just sever that connection that we just painted out. There we go. So this is technically part of the Baked Plateau. Maybe they lease out the field or something to FA Synergies. We can find some reason for it, I'm sure. We'll have that here. And then I'd love to have all this kind of facility separate from the public road, so maybe we can have this as an entrance into here. I'm going to leave some room around the back of the factory because I've got some ideas for asset integration here. And then we'll bring this road down. It's actually go to dirt road at this point, I think. Let's go to this one. Come right up against the edge of the factory and the road. And then we've got our fertile land to place in here. And now we can grab a field. So, do we just want to go one large fruit? Is that all we want? Oh, we could have it as a greenhouse as well, couldn't we? I hadn't considered that at all. Now that is interesting. Do we want to place it as a greenhouse and actually have it alongside the factory? I was thinking let's have it as a field. I'm thinking now if it's kind of a more advanced hydroponics sort of thing, setup deal, maybe greenhouse would actually work quite well in that regard. Give it a try. Something a bit different, isn't it, rather than just use another field. So that looks like a perfect fits and sits moment. So we'll have this area, well, the bait plateau, all the way over here. And it looks like we can get that in right next door to the factory, which is a match made in heaven, isn't it? That is really quite nice. I also want to test flipping the factory around. Yeah, exposes more of these props here to the factories and start to develop a bit more of an actual factory complex, and with some tasteful airport surface painter we can really flesh that out, I think. Cool. And could we do another one? Oh, we could. It does fit and sits. How do we feel about the aesthetics of actual crops here? I don't mind it, actually, you know. It's not horrific, is it? I think it's alright. How about if we dropped it down a size and maybe had smaller warehouse, or smaller greenhouse here? Slightly different shaped building, isn't it? Maybe have that one facing the road. We'll do two of them. Maybe have one of them as pairs. It's a very unique combination of assets, isn't it? It's not something you see overly often. But I don't hate it. I think we'll go with it for there right now. I definitely want to move the parking back to the front of the facility, so we'll move this over. And now just thinking about what we can do with this back end. Because the factory also wants glass, its crops are now being produced locally, which is wonderful. I was thinking maybe we can also produce the glass locally, which will come in the form of either a glass manufacturing plant or fiberglass. I would prefer the smaller asset, I think. So again, we're going to need to steal an ore industrial area. Unless, of course, we just wanted to place another ore building down. Because I think this one is a little bit more integratable into the industrial area. Because the farm one is such a distinctive farmhouse, whereas this one just looks like it could be part of the FA Synergies project, I guess is what we'll refer to it as the episode goes forward. Let's give it a go. Let's move the car park over here and probably replace this with the industry main building for ore. Now what I'd love to do is start playing with some orientation of this particular asset, so let's go ahead and grab it. Yeah, it does have a dirt texture to it, doesn't it? I'm guessing you won't play friendly with the airport aprons. No, you won't. That's okay though. Doesn't have to be concrete everywhere. And I can already see, you know, where orientation is going to play into this one. We just want to flip this 180 degrees. That way it kind of opens up this yard to the backyard of the factory. And I don't think having that there sort of blends in as one giant production complex now, doesn't it? And there is also ore in these hills over here as well, so if we wanted to, we could actually have some local ore production, but I think that's leaning away from the whole kind of sustainable vibe, isn't it? If it just is mining out the ore behind it, it's not particularly sustainable, so maybe it imports it from elsewhere. I don't mind that. Let's also chuck the car parking back on the front of the building here too. Fabulous, yeah, so those crops are being exported. No, don't export them, we need them. Drop them off here. Cool, and any sort of ore storage for you? I guess we could do... Oh, this is a super industrial looking number though, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think I really want this here. We're just going to rely on imports. Oh no, we shouldn't really. We shouldn't do that. Yeah, let's have this here then. I think this one's the least kind of evil corporate mining vibe, isn't it? So we'll have those there. I guess we can make it look like it's all part of the same factory facility. A little bit of fencing will go a long way to bringing that together. But either way, a pretty cool combination, right? I don't mind that at all. Very unique. Crops, factories, and ore all in the same facility turns out to be quite cool. And that is now producing everything that this needs, so I reckon we can stick that on 150%. It should stay stocked pretty much forever. If not, maybe we want to do some warehouses around here, but we'll see how it goes. So that's the factory setup. Now I'd like to turn my attention toward the community that this factory founded in order to offer sustainable living, I suppose. So green cities is definitely the way to go. So I definitely want this to follow kind of a very rigid pattern, like it's been purposely designed, rather than organic suburbia, if you know what I mean, that has grown over time and through history. So let's center everything up here against our main factory. So we'll have 3 tiles between kind of the through road and the suburb. Put all those in and get some detail in here during our time lapse. But we also wanted the biodome and the vertical farm in here as well, didn't we? We can definitely get away with switching up the location of these assets. Let's move that one over there. We'll have that one there. Yeah, I'm happy with the vertical farm to sit over there. And can we centralize the biodome here too? Against this space where the crops are. It'd be very cool if we could. Also having the biodome there actually perfectly centers it, and I'm hoping this is one of those drawable nodes. It is indeed. Yes, cool. So we can feed this pathway right down to the river, which is what I want to do. I want these dirt pathways to be a real feature of the Green City suburb. Like, you can basically, all pathways lead back to FA synergies, essentially, is the vibe I want to create here. So we'll lead them through there so we know where they need to be, and then we'll bring our road frame back up now to wrap around the edge. Let's do some little curves here. Don't be so rigid all the time. A nice little 5 curve. There we go. Then we can bring that straight to here. And then I want to upgrade this little bit of road at the middle to have pedestrian crossings on it. So I reckon we'll go to a bit of median, and that way those pathways still make sense coming back through. Even do some nice design splitting off here as well. We'll see what happens. Yes, then of course this can just be developed out as well. We'll turn this into some real nice, cool, modern green space, I think, to blend the biodome in. Very nice. Gives a bit more purpose to these crops over here as well, doesn't it? I think I like that. It's already a super unique build, isn't it? I'm really liking how it's turning out so far. Let's make a bit of a community centre around here, why don't we? Looks like we can actually bring these pathways out where we set up, or the roads out from where we set up those pedestrian crossings. I'd love some Bad Peanuts sports venue action out here to keep all the locals happy. Let's do, I think, cricket. Cricket or football? What do we do the most of? What does Denise have? Denise has a lot of football, doesn't it? It does. Let's do cricket then. We very rarely use cricket. So we'll have that. Yeah. Do you want to go for 2? Do you want to do some double cricket spies? I mean, I don't hate that. It is quite alright. Yeah, we'll go for 2 cricket fields. Not unusual to see 2 cricket pitches in the wild at the same time, is it? Let's bring out these roads now, and then with the housing behind them, oh, we can also hook straight into there. This is all just paying off, isn't it? Wonderful. Something's got to go wrong eventually. This is all going far too smoothly at the minute. Then what I'd love to do with the housing is to have super perfect zones of what I imagine is going to be 4x4 low density residential. I want to make sure all the houses are the same size so it looks like a properly kind of copy and pasted corporate built suburb, I guess, is the vibe I want to go for here. I want to make sure that all our zonings are respecting 4x4, and we'll have this run pretty much through the entire village. Bring that back over there as well. Put that into there. Going to be some nice riverfront detail opportunities here too. Definitely some pathways back into Denise as well. So they're not growing. I thought you would actually with all the parties out here. I guess we can give them some services. But with the services on offer, let's cluster these around our town centre. We'll give them free daycare for anyone that wants to live over here. Is it worth actually maybe having a little look through some policies maybe? Is there anything that we want to apply to this specific district? Recycled plastic I think might be quite cool. We'll give them a recycling centre as well. Guess we could also do electric cars as well, that might be quite cool. And I think that's where we'll end it. Also do a filter industrial waste. Yeah, we'll do that too, why not? Don't know if that applies to industry DLC buildings, I'm assuming it does. And I think that's probably it. Sustainable fishing would also be good, but there's no fishing out here, so it's not really relevant. Cool, so we'll add those to the FA Synergies district, I think that's going to be quite cool. We'll also do healthcare for them as well, which is the more modern looking clinic. Is it the vanilla one or the European one? Or is the one in content creators I'm not considering? Yeah, they're all a bit big, these, aren't they? Yeah, that's fine then. Let's do the European one. That was a bit nicer, isn't it? Let's have you on the corner. This should be making you grow up now, surely. We'll also do services as well. We'll go for just a small police station. And in fact, do we want to go for a police security centre? I think we may. And then we'll also do the small little Korean fire station as well on the opposite side. Fabulous. Cool, starting to get some people coming in now. Let's make sure we keep respecting those 4x4 zonings. I don't want them all to connect back onto the street as well. I'd rather everyone kind of enter through this main area here, like it is almost like a private gated community sort of. There's also just our zone in here as well, because I'd love to have those spaces available there for zoning, so we can do that. They're growing up now too. And then I think we'll keep this central space reserved for parks and services like that. Only very occasionally crossing over. Just thinking actually, can they actually... will the Sims be able to make that crossing? I don't think they will they? Which is slightly annoying. Because the distance is just too short. Yeah, I'm not sure, because it looks like the pathways are linked together. Because I know sometimes they can walk across a mesh space like that, can't they? I'll have to wait and see. I also want to give this district the Green Cities specialization for commercial as well. Because I'd like to have some commercial in here. And we'll do just some tasteful spots around this side. Let's actually not forget to add our zoning back in there. That would be helpful. Cool. So all this out here is going to be suburbia. Let's make sure we link all this through. I think we'll just stick with these back-to-back blocks. Seems to be quite effective, I think, doesn't it? What length are we playing with here? 760? I reckon we'll just keep doing that. And then have them a little bit shorter near the river. And we can have lots of housing over here. He's slightly shorter there. Let's make sure we just respect that. And then we can just adjust that corner there. Fabulous. Cool. How are you guys doing? You're complaining of no ore, even though there's literally right next door to you, but that's okay. You will sort yourself out soon. Factory doesn't have enough goods anymore. But let's get some of this zoning done as well. Cool, so that real rigid pattern of 4x4 zoning is starting to give the vibe that we want now. This is good. Starting to get some houses growing out here too. These guys should be okay for land value and parks and stuff, I reckon. Shouldn't need to give them anything more. We've also got some 4 graveyards in Denise. Let's quickly collapse their dead. Almost collapsed, wasn't it? Oh my god, yes it was. I thought I hit something. I thought I hit something else then. There'll be like some meteors about to strike Denise. There we go. Wonderful. That's a good point actually. It does remind me we should provide death care for them. Which I think is going to come in the form of a cryo preservatory, I think. Add some zoning back to this one, and then we can place that there, hopefully. Perhaps a touch morbid to have the cryo preservatory directly behind the med clinic, but in the spirit of sustainability, at least it'll save on the carbon footprint that the dead leave behind. Cool. So I reckon that's a pretty good little template there, isn't it? I don't mind that at all. Very cool. I definitely want to bring some bridges over to the detail in time-lapse. I'm not sure what we're going to do over here. I reckon we'll perhaps develop these on a live stream or something. I feel like these should have something done to them. There's a real cool sort of landmass shape here. Maybe we can develop a mini nature reserve out here, have some camping. Let me know what you think should happen with this riverway and land masses, because I think this definitely lends itself to something a bit more interesting, doesn't it? Get some comments down below what you think should be here. And in the meantime, while you're all thinking of that, we will add together our pathways. So can we go... How do we want to do this? Just want to go straight over from... like that? Is that the bridge we want? Is there anything... If we want to go sustainability vibes, then of course... Elevated zoo path always does a job, doesn't it? Something a bit more concrete rather than the rickety wooden bridge. Also, the moss bridge from Nature Reserve also does a good job, doesn't it? Decisions. Wonder how much further along we would be in Orchid Bay if it wasn't for me having to decide on what sort of pathway to use for a bloody bridge. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? I think we'll bring the Nature Reserve one down. I do like the Nature Reserve. And then I'd love to have it if we could line it up in the middle. And we then just do 2 little connecting pieces from these. It does bulge out a little bit, but I can live with that. That's going to be okay. Cool. And then we'll see how many people we get walking back and 2 across here from Denise. And then I'd also love to have a little pathway meander along the riverbank like it does here in Denise as well. And then we'll save that as part of that build. For whatever ends up over in this part of the map. Otherwise, guys, that feels like a pretty decent place for some detailing. I'm going to possibly add in some warehouses around the back here. The factory is staying stocked on 150%, so it should be okay. It probably doesn't need warehouses around here, especially when things are being produced so locally. But I do like the aesthetic of a warehouse, so we'll wait and see about that. And then I want to expand this very gridded 4x4 green cities pattern around this way too. And I think just to help give it that more kind of designer suburb look, maybe upgrade some of these roads into the kind of fancier European stone lane road. Because I really want to give it kind of a prestigious vibe. Like, you know, the factories really put quite a bit of money into developing this suburb for sustainability reasons and whatnot. Or maybe we'll do a bit of that as well. Or maybe just down the middle is quite tasteful, isn't it, rather than everywhere. I just like the paving. Again, really good DLC. The Bridges and Piers pack on Instant Gaming, if you haven't picked it up, always worth a few quid. Otherwise, let's do some detailing of our FA Synergies sustainable factory suburb, and then we'll be right back. Okay guys, let's have a little detailed review, shall we? So this has turned into a very unique suburb. Massive shout out again to FA Synergy for that idea. But we arrive at the entrance into the town where we have some asymmetry. Also upgraded a bunch of the roads into different variants here. I've got the American pavement here with the white, and then the European with the stone. Kind of mixed and matched it, just to add a bit more interest into the suburb. Our vertical farm sits in really nice now. We also dropped in a warehouse around the back. And also a crop storage as well. And it really helps create that open industrial prop yard, which is very hard to achieve in vanilla. But really happy with how the whole factory complex turned out. It's a super unique blend, a little bit more kind of grotty industry around the back, but the sort of whole green renewable side of the factory really shines through with these warehouses at the front of the building. So really like how it all turned out. Lots of pathways and bush lining against the biodome itself, which then spills into the suburb. We've got some jacaranda down that central path reservation, and we do have people walking up and down these pathways now, actually crossing the bridge over to Denise, which is really nice. So always fun to see some walkability over there. Then they take different pathways off depending where they want to go. Very fun. It's a really really cool suburb to look at. Lots more zoning around here with pathways in between, of course, waiting for really nice specific zoners to come in here. So you can imagine what it'd be like to live in this town, right? Lots of kind of local, sustainable produce all made nearby, whereas people who live here also work for the factory that helps to sort of fund this whole project. So we've actually renamed it into the FA Synergies Community Project, which I think is a really nice name for the suburb, isn't it? Lots of fence lining and trees right down the main road, which has been upgraded to a small single lane road, or the one with wide sidewalks anyway. Pathways through here with fences cutting through so people can meander around here, and then that spills back into the road that now flows essentially as National Highway. As we really start to enter this realm of the map, which I don't know what's going out here yet, I don't know what it looks like. Not entirely sure what we really want to do with it, but there's certainly a lot of scope for different things out here, especially when we can keep coming up with new ideas for builds around factories in particular is really cool. A lot of park space here with vanilla parks and new After Dark ones, tennis courts and little birch gardens, so there's lots of nice recreational space for the people that live here, and stuck pretty rigidly toward that very kind of like almost gated community look, using specific zonings, very rigid road networks, very kind of copy and paste housing that you imagine the factory would have put in place rather than, you know, custom builds that have lots of land around them, etc., that sort of housing. And it worked out really nicely. There's a lot of soy and lentils over here. The build is sponsored by soy and lentils. They are pretty much everywhere here. But a very, very unique factory landscape combined with the suburb in what was a wonderful idea. And don't forget to let me know what you think we should do with these land masses here around the rivers. I definitely want to do something with this, but I'm not entirely sure what. I imagine nature reserve would be the most obvious choice. Some sort of camping grounds, but again, let me know if you think something else might work a little better around these land masses. I'm sure I might be not considering something to use over here. And I really like the double cricket pitches as well. The whole town from the top down has a very unique look about it, doesn't it? It's really cool. A really great traffic flow coming through both here as well. Good job we've got that connection back into Denise over here. Otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. Let's thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, likes, comments and shares below really do help me out. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave me a dislike as well. An enormous shout out to FA Synergy for his idea of combining the lemonade factory with a funded, sustainable community around it. Super cool idea to run with the factory. I still want to do more factory complexes around Orchid Bay. I realise that's kind of been the theme of the last 2 weeks with the car factory last week. And we've still got the clothing factory and sneakers factory to use as well, so I reckon we could probably get away with doing a sort of textiles complex maybe that's somewhere else across the map. Either way, an enormous shout out for all support on City Skylines 1. Thank you for continuing to support the CS1 series. And a wonderful shout out to the beautiful human beings with fantastic character that are our patrons. With a special roll call to Felix Wilkinson. If you are interested in supporting the channel, don't forget I mentioned that instant gaming link down below today. That is the best way to support, and if you want to get involved in Patreon, there's a whole bunch of bonuses that you can read into on the page if you're interested, but otherwise, I'll shut up and leave it there. Please do enjoy today's cinematic, so let's thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.